Hey, have you ever really thought about that app on your phone? The one that lets you trade currencies from all over the world? Well, today, we're going to dive into the incredible story of how foreign exchange trading went from this, super stuffy, exclusive club to a powerful tool that literally sits right in your pocket.
I mean, it's pretty wild when you think about it, isn't it? With just a couple of taps, you can jump into a market where trillions, with a T, trillions of dollars are flying around every single day. So how on earth did that happen? Because let me tell you, it definitely wasn't always this easy.
For the longest time, the Forex market was basically the most exclusive club on the planet. I mean, picture a velvet rope, a stone-faced bouncer, and only the biggest players. We're talking giant banks, hedge funds, and huge corporations were allowed inside. You and me? We weren't even on the guest list.
Okay, so let's rewind the clock. Back before the internet, you have to imagine a world filled with ringing phones and these loud, clattering telex machines. It was a totally different universe, where trading was all about who you were, how deep your pockets were, and frankly, who you knew.
You know, the Forex market, as we know it, really only got started back in the early 70s, after currencies were set free from the US dollar. This created the whole floating exchange rate system we have now. But for decades, it was a game played only by the financial giants, using, super clunky, old-school technology.
There were just these massive walls keeping the average person out. For starters, you needed insane amounts of money, like millions of dollars, just to get a seat at the table. Then all the technology, the direct lines to the market, that was all locked down by the big guys. And on top of all that, everything was manual. Trades were literally placed over the phone. It was slow, it was inefficient, and completely out of reach for us.
And then, bam, everything changed. The 1990s and the rise of the internet wasn't just some tech update. It was the sledgehammer that just started smashing down the walls of that exclusive club. All of a sudden, it felt like everyone was getting an invitation to the party. And this right here shows you just how big of a revolution it was. Back in the day, the standard trade size was 1 million units or more. But with the internet, these new companies could suddenly offer trades for as little as $1,000. This wasn't just a small tweak. This was an absolute game changer. This huge shift created a brand new player in the game, the retail Forex broker. These guys were the pioneers. They saw what the internet could do, and they built platforms to stream live prices and let regular people execute trades. They basically built the bridge that connected Main Street to the global currency market.
So, with the door now completely kicked open, the 2000s saw this flood of new traders and new brokers just pouring into the market. And yeah, this created a massive explosion of growth and opportunity. But it also kicked off a period of, well, total chaos.
And this quote from babypips.com just nails it. The market was pretty much unregulated. So sure, there were amazing chances to make money, but there was also a ton of risk and some really questionable stuff going on. It really was the Wild West of finance, and you had to watch your back. But right in the middle of all this chaos, a really powerful tool showed up. In 2005, a platform called MetaTrader 4 came out. It was easy to use, it was packed with charts and tools, and it even let people do automated trading. It blew up, quickly becoming the gold standard for retail traders and giving them the firepower to really compete. So, as you can probably imagine, all of this wild growth and shady behavior, it started attracting a lot of attention. The party was getting a little out of hand, and it was about time for a new sheriff to ride into town and bring some law and order to the market.
Yeah, a really good way to think about it is like a stern but loving parent finally stepping in. Regulators all over the world knew they had to create a safer space and protect individual traders from the biggest risks of this new frontier.
And these weren't just any old sheriffs either. We're talking about the heavy hitters, the major global financial watchdogs. You've got the CFTC in the US, the FCA in the UK, ASIC down in Australia, and ESMA in Europe. They all started rolling out strict rules for brokers.
So what did they actually do to protect people like you? Well, they brought in rules that really changed the game for the better. They put limits on leverage to stop people from taking on way too much risk. They made brokers offer negative balance protection, so you could never lose more money than you put in. And they forced them to keep client money in separate accounts.
And that whole journey brings us right here to today. After decades of tech breakthroughs, a chaotic boom, and then the arrival of these watchful guardians, what we have now is a mature, regulated, and, an incredibly accessible market. I mean, today's market is a whole different universe. The platforms have crazy cool features like social trading and copy trading, so you can learn from others. The people in the market are no longer just financial elites. They're from every country and every background imaginable. And this huge global community has popped up online where everyone can share ideas and strategies in real time. This is it. This is the end result of that whole long journey. The market isn't stuck on a trading floor in New York or London anymore. It's on your computer, it's on your tablet, and most importantly, it's right here, in the palm of your hand, accessible anytime, anywhere. So when you just step back and look at that unbelievable transformation from an exclusive, slow analog club to an instant digital global community, it really makes you wonder, right? We've come so far, so fast. So what do you think? What's the next massive leap in trading going to look like?